Alright, this is video number 1 for chapter 6, where we're talking about business and organizational customers. As I mentioned in class, the B2B or business to business buying behavior is what we're looking at. Now, the business to business operation here, when you're selling your products to another business instead of the end user, is definitely a big opportunity. There are 4 main types of customers here. As you see on the slide, you'll see producers, which are the people who make and manufacture products. Could include farmers as well. Intermediaries, which are the wholesalers and the retailers. These are the middlemen who will then sell to the final user. Governmental units. It could be the federal level, it could be the state level, it could be the local level, even like municipalities and all that. And then nonprofits as well, including both the national and the local forms of nonprofit organizations. So there's potential for a lot of money, big money, but just make sure that you understand that there are 4 main businesses that are considered in this B2B or business to business organizational structure. All right, we've gone through chapter 5, so now we're focusing over on chapter 6. And if you look in your book, this is pages 146, 147, you'll see that we're going to be focusing on the customers and the different types of customers that we now have. And instead of focusing on the final customers, we are now looking at other business organizations as our customer structure. All right, the differences between selling to another business, which is considered this organizational customer, and the final customer, you're going to see that there are 7 primary issues here. Now, I'm not going to go through each one of them in detail, but a couple of them that I want you to be aware of is the first one in the upper right corner, which says fewer but larger customers. There are nearly not as many businesses that you could sell to as there are end users, but the point that the businesses will spend considerably more money and larger amounts of money when they make their purchases can definitely lead to a good profit margin as well. So it's something to definitely consider there. Second one, organizations will typically focus on economic factors, but you can't forget about that. Depending upon how the economy is doing is dependent upon how much money you potentially could make or even lose when selling to another business who may be doing well or maybe struggling due to the economy. The ethical issues or the ethical conflicts that may arise, you just have to be careful that any personal interests that you have don't conflict with that of the company's profit. If you are trying to do business, you try to push a friend's company to do business with rather than going with what might be best for the company, you can get yourself into a lot of potential trouble with that. Buying procedures are often standardized, so to make buying more efficient, many firms have really just gone to standardized buying procedures, so it makes things quicker and easier, not as detailed. They link together and know what they need and when they need it, so it makes the purchasing and the transactions very convenient. And multiple buying influence is going to be dealing with what's called the buying center, which is something that you are definitely going to need to know, and it is covered on the next slide. All right, the buying center, know this. Definitely know this. This is made up of 5 major components or areas here, 5 different categories of people. So if we're looking around this, starting at the top, when we're talking about the buyers, these are the people who traditionally are considered purchasing managers, and they're responsible for dealing with the suppliers, making sure that the contracts are set up properly, all the terms of sale are aligned and meet what the company needs at that time. Going around to either side, the users and the influencers. The users are the people who will actually use the product in the company. Okay, the people who will use the product that is being purchased from the company. It could be If you're at a manufacturing plant, it could be factory workers, production line workers. It could be, if you're looking at computers, it could be anybody from administrative assistants to support staff to technicians. So they're the people who are using the actual product. Influencers are people who have expertise in a certain area, and they can help determine what products are going to be the right ones to purchase. Okay, which ones do you buy and which ones do you try to stay away from? They know their stuff, they know their materials, and they know the equipment. Gatekeepers are very, very important people in a company. They're the ones who really dictate the flow of information throughout a company. A lot of times these are the secretaries or administrative assistants. They're the ones who determine what gets through to the president, the CEO, the managers, the upper level administrators. And you have to really be careful because you have to make sure that they are in line, what you're proposing is in line with what the company likes, and that it'll actually get to the people that it needs to get to. And lastly, the deciders are the people who have power in the organization. They're the ones who have the final say to approve or disapprove of anything. All right, the checking your knowledge. Consuela Velasquez is a receptionist for a group of 7 physicians. As she controls the calendar for the physicians, any sales representatives from a pharmaceutical company wanting to call on the physicians have to go through Consuela. As a result, it is very important for sales reps to cultivate a good relationship with her. In the buying center, Consuela would be best described as she's the one who's dictating the flow of the information, whether they can see the people or cannot see the people. So she would be a gatekeeper. That would be letter D. All right, next one. Ahmed Jameson is a purchasing specialist for a large company. He has the authority to execute purchase orders on amounts up to $100,000. All right, so if he's a purchasing specialist, he's the one that's doing the buying, so he would be considered a buyer. On a purchase order for a higher amount, Ahmed arranges the terms of sale, but the transaction has to be approved by the company's president. Okay, the company's president is the person who makes the final decision, so he would then be a decider. So as we're looking down through this, Ahmed is a buyer, president is a decider, so that would be letter C. Okay, model of organizational buying. 3 steps here for this model of organizational buying. We're going to go through them step by step, starting with step number 1 in the second video for this. So this is just a very brief overview for the model of organizational buying. Step number 1 is defining the problem. Step number 2 is buying process. Step number 3 is managing the relationships between the buyer and the seller. Alright, so as we go through this, we are going to break these down one by one into a little bit more detail. Alright, so this is going to be the end of the first video for chapter 6.